So yeah, it was a crazy fast-paced lifestyle, but the one thing that I realized is that I really opened up a lot, and I really started to notice my surroundings in New York City. In New York, there are a ton of people that express themselves openly, and I really started following the news a lot more. And one observation I had from following the news is that when you turn it on, most of the stuff that's on there is always negative. So if you turn it on right now, probably one of the news stories you'll see is probably on some robbery or murder or some sort of crime. And
Right.
so because of that, I really just kind of wanted to find a way to express myself as well. And that's really how I kind of got started writing. And in the process, I founded a company as well. It was called Hype Up Your Day, which I didn't mention too much, but the essence of that was actually we kind of contracted speakers, trainers to kind of go into companies and really help employees think more positively and be more productive at work. So
Very
that is
good.
essentially how I got to where I am. I started the company, and the book kind of was a branch out of that, and now I just am mostly focused on writing from there.
I love that. I love that you are young and driven, and I can tell that you're going to be one of these serial entrepreneurs, just like I am. And because that's the kind of stuff I was doing in my 20s, so that's cool. That's
I do
wonderful.
love
So
entrepreneurship.
that's right. Is your family entrepreneurial? Was that something in your background?
Not as much, actually.
No.
I
Okay.
think it was kind of just an internal thing when I got to New York City. That was just something. Even in my high school career, I've always been kind of entrepreneurial, but I never really took much action until I kind
Wow.
of got to college.
Very good. Very good. And what are you studying at college?
So I am studying economics. It goes along well
Economics.
with, yeah, I think it's very important to kind of have an economics background or a finance background, especially if you're
I
working with
agree.
startups.
I agree. Very good. That's perfect. So wonderful. So tell me more about Win No Matter What.
Yeah. So the book actually, it was, so first I started the company that I was talking to you about, Hype Up Your Day, and the book, Win No Matter What, was actually a way to drive more audience to Hype Up Your Day and to kind of get more clients.
Hmm.
And so I think that's a great suggestion for anybody who has a business or any type of expertise. I think starting or writing a book kind of on your expertise is a great way to kind of get more of an audience and more people to kind of see your work and to get more clients for your business. But Win No Matter What is essentially it's a book that addresses three areas. It's how to improve your mood, attitude, and the perception of others on a daily basis.
Hmm.
So it's essentially just how you can be more productive and look at life more positively on a daily basis. And there are a lot of books out there already that kind of address topics like this, but the reason they're not as popular is because they're so long, and that's one of the issues that I was facing. A lot of these motivational books are very long. They're 300 pages, but they can be summarized literally within 5 to 6 pages. So
Right.
the book that I wrote, it was 70 pages without any of the fluff, and it literally just gets straight to the point. So I think that's one of the best things about it is that you can read it within 45 minutes. You sit down, and that's pretty much it. You just get the main bare bones.
Yeah, I love that. That's actually, the pretty much the size of most of my books. I've written 3 books, and you're so right. People say to me all the time, "I love that I can take your book, read it, get right to the point, get my answers, and move on." Right?
Yeah,
That's the world we live in these days. So very
exactly.
cool.
Yeah, and
And
actually, when I was writing the book, there was research done that the attention span of people today is getting a lot shorter. So actually, the trend with books right now is that they're getting shorter too.
right, right. And so you had this published through a publisher, or are you
Yes,
self-published?
through
Publisher.
a publisher. Yes.
Very cool. How did you get How did you get connected there with the publisher?
So most of it was kind of risky. I mean, so I'm writing a book right now, a second one, and since I'm not too established of an author, essentially what I do is I just write the book, the manuscript up front, and
Hmm.
then once it's completed, I basically just send a proposal to a ton of publishers that kind of fall into the genre of the book that I've written, and it's essentially just kind of what the comparative advantage of the book is, where I think it would sell, who the target market is, and a sample of the book. And if the publisher's interested, they usually get back to you. and they ask for the full manuscript, and then if they like it, then obviously they'll offer you a contract to publish the book.
Nice. Very good. It's actually very rare these days to see somebody coming through a publisher. So that was really cool when I saw that you were through a publisher.
Yeah, and it's definitely a little bit risky too, because obviously when you've completed the book, you have no idea if it's actually going to get published or not.
Yeah.
But yeah, so actually the book that I've just written right now, I'm in the process of sending out emails to publishers and kind of writing the proposal. So we'll see what happens.
Yeah, I saw that on your website whenever I was kind of poking around on there yesterday. And let me just share that with everyone. Let me give you guys his website address so you can find out more about Nihar. And I'm going to spell it for them just so everybody gets it right. It's NIHARSUTHAR.com. So NIHARSUTHAR.com. And I saw on there that I'd seen that you're writing the second book, The Corridor of Uncertainty, right? And and that also you have been featured on a lot of really cool places, Huffington Post, U.S. News and World Report. Have you been writing articles, or they been talking about your book?
Most of them have been talking about my book. Guest blogging is something that I do sometimes for certain sites, but with the Huffington Post and U.S. News and World Report, they were just featuring, kind of talking about my work.
Yeah, very good. It's all about getting it out there and getting it seen. So, did you say that you're no longer doing that business and you're focusing on writing as your future, or did I misunderstand that?
Yeah, so Hype Up Your Day, it's still in the background, but I'm not actively pursuing it because when I wrote the first book, I kind of realized that, writing was something I actually enjoyed. And so it's still kind of entrepreneurial, kind of having a career as an author because, you obviously have to market your books on your own and you kind of have to find the advantages, the comparative advantages. And so it kind of requires some entrepreneurial mindset, but right now I'm focusing on just writing, and I do have a couple startup ideas potentially getting back into the startup world in the next year or two with pertaining to education. After going through college, I've just realized that a lot of people in general in college, it doesn't apply to every major, but some people believe that a college education can be condensed in less than a year, and traveling is very popular right now too. So a lot of people really want to travel and get cultural experiences and get kind of internship experiences. So when I was doing some surveys with a lot of random participants that I chose, one of the biggest concerns with college was that you get practical skills but not enough life skills.
Right.
And so potentially a startup idea that I was kind of thinking about was kind of how can you incorporate those practical skills with life skills as well.
Very cool. I think that's brilliant. I think with everything's shifted, I believe, in the last, say, 10 to 15 years in how people address everything, from the social aspect of everything to the fact that you're right, they want the experiential learning, right, and not just the book learning, which there's still a place for the book learning. We need to have that knowledge, but we need to have the experiential too. So great idea. Love that.
Yeah.
Very cool. And you also, do you host your own radio show? Did I see that somewhere?
Yeah, I just started that last week, actually.
Oh, very good. Well, welcome, welcome.
But thank you.
Lots of stuff going on. And so if they wanted to listen to your radio show, where would they find it?
That is actually, it'll be going up on iHeartRadio in the next week, actually. So you can go to iHeartRadio.com and just search the name of the radio show, which is Incito. It's spelled INCITO. Or you can go to my website, which you mentioned earlier, NiharSuthar.com, and find the radio show there as well.
What is Incito? Does that mean something? Is it stand for something?
It does. Actually, there's not really a reason behind why I chose Incito, but in Latin it actually means to inspire, and so essentially it goes along with the book. So essentially what I'm doing is kind of just finding ways that I can branch out, kind of just buckets of ways I can branch out in the same topic. So the radio show is kind of the same work that I do, but it's just faster to market. So a book obviously takes a year or two in between when you get each one out, but a radio show is every week. So it's basically just a way that I can branch out, kind of do more things, but along the same topic.
When do you think the second book's going to be coming out?
It will probably be either, so the original goal was to have it out in December 2015, but the publishing process takes about 5 to 6 months. So most likely it will be at the beginning of 2016 by the time it comes out.
Great, great. And is it along the same lines as this one, an inspirational, or is it more story? Or
Yeah, so this one is definitely more story. It's not as much. So the first book was more advice to people, practical advice. This one's actually a story. It's about the Afghanistan cricket team. So there are definitely still some lessons that people can draw away from the story, but it's not targeted practical advice. It's more of like a narrative type story.
very cool. I saw on your website also that you support a charity, and that I think it was 10% of the book sales go to a charity. What charity is that?
I think it's always important to give back for every business or for every entrepreneur. I think it's always important to give back because without a lot of help that we've gotten, we wouldn't be where we were. So I support the Acumen Fund, which is based in New York City. And basically what Acumen does, it's actually targeted towards entrepreneurs, but in countries where entrepreneurs can get resources. And I heard you talking in the introduction of your show about how a lot of entrepreneurs don't have the funds they need to start up a business. And so Acumen really kind of provides funds to entrepreneurs in certain third world countries like India and places in Africa, and where these people have a sustainable model but just not the funding to start to get their business off the ground. So Acumen is basically helping entrepreneurs in those areas. Very
good. Oh, that's awesome. I love that you have that connected to it, and it really shows that you're well-rounded, and I appreciate that as an entrepreneur. So we only have probably 3 or 4 minutes left, so let's do this. Going back to the book, and the fact that it is that inspirational win no matter what conversation. What is it that you want everyone to take away from this conversation? What do they need to learn today or know today?
I think from the book, I think it's probably, so I know a lot of people are kind of forced into a path coming out of college, or even just not even out of college, but a lot of people I know out there want to be entrepreneurs, but they're just not willing to take a risk to become an entrepreneur. So obviously that's understandable because, a lot of people, they need the money from the current job that they have. But the truth is that, being an entrepreneur, starting a business or a startup, it all starts off on the side. So I think it's really just to kind of, if you have an idea, just go for it, follow your passion. And, every startup has started up as an idea on the side of somebody usually having a full-time job. So the fact that somebody might have a full-time job or be in college for like a full-time student, it's not necessarily an obstacle to going for a startup or, going for something, an entrepreneurial idea you might have. So I think it's important that, don't be deterred by the fact that you might have a full-time job or be a student, that you can't do something entrepreneurial. It always starts off on the side, and really in the beginning, all you need is maybe 30 minutes to an hour a day to kind of start off. And then once you get something going, that's when you get to the point where you can quit that job. But really just kind of follow your passion and don't be afraid to go for something just because you think there are other obstacles in the way.
Yeah, that's really good advice. When I was at the event that I went to last week, and I had a woman walk up to me and ask that question. She said, I have a full-time job. I really want to start my business, but I can't quit my job. And I told her pretty much the same thing. How committed are you, right? And are you willing to give up a couple of hours each night or 3 nights a week or whatever that looks like? You have to start taking the action. Without the action, you'll never get out of that job, right?
Exactly. Yeah, exactly. And a lot of people have the passion, but they just don't know where to start. And so I think that is the best starting point. Just do a couple hours a day, and eventually, once your side business, your startup grows, you'll get to the point where you can basically quit that full-time job, and you'll be sustainable with your startup.
That's exactly right. Well, thank you so much for being here today. This has been a fun conversation.
Thanks so much for having me, Michelle. I definitely had a lot of fun.
You are so welcome, and congratulations. You've inspired me. I appreciate